Mumbai. Till the 1990s, it was known as Bombay. Before boarding my train, I'll be spending a day here. There's so much to see. With a population of 21 million people, it's India's largest city. And today, it's booming. Across the whole of India, the economy is growing so fast, it's now the 5th largest in the world.
What is endlessly fascinating about this place is that everywhere you look, there's industry. People are doing things. Everybody is on the move. There's nobody static. And that's a good sort of metaphor for what Mumbai is all about. It's a city on the move, exploding. I mean, it's just mad. At the very heart of everything that happens in this city is the battle, the competition between poverty and riches.
I'm here to see how this battle is playing out in the new India. The skyline has certainly changed. Mumbai has the 5th highest number of skyscrapers in the world. It's also one of the biggest building sites in the world, with nearly 50 towers under construction. This is one of the world's largest private houses. It's owned by an oil tycoon, Mukesh Ambani. It's almost as tall as London's Telecom Tower, and it comes with a ballroom, free swimming pools, a private theatre, and accommodation for 600 staff.
The thing to think of when you look at this extraordinary building is that it was designed for a family of 5.
Today, India has 50 billionaires like Ambani. But not everyone here is so lucky. Just a few miles away is the suburb of Dharavi, home to nearly 1 million people. This is one of the biggest shanty towns in all Asia. On the surface, this is old India. Yet deep inside, there's an explosion of activity.
Very narrow here.
Yeah.
Which is very much part of the new.
If you look, there's always a factory inside.
Oh, right. It is working in there.
He's making T-shirts and he's cleaning. It's a garment factory.
Right.
Vinod Shetty runs a charity supporting hundreds of recycling businesses in Dharavi. They've sprung up to help process the 10,000 tons of waste which Mumbai generates every day.
This is a plastic recycler who's sorting plastic inside and glass.
Does he start this on his own initiative?
Yes, totally.
Yes.
These are all entrepreneurs who have risen from the ranks and they have established their small sheds and they are recycling.
Excuse us.
Some of the workers also live inside. Even the smallest of sheds.
My goodness me.
So, small entrepreneurs, he's the owner and this is all his belongings, okay? He'll be far from his family.
Gosh, this is claustrophobic in there.
Yes.
Must be difficult to work in there all day.
So, like you'll see this gentleman here.
Jesus.
The work done by these entrepreneurs helps the city to recycle twice as much of its waste as we do in Britain.
Extraordinary. There's a lot of work going up there.
Yeah.
Rajendra specializes in electrical goods.
You've been working here since the age of 16.
Yeah.
Doing just this.
साल से आप यही किए, ये तोड़. So he's basically specialized in separating the electronic waste.
All this can be reused.
Yes. No machine can do this.
Very impressive.
For young men like Rajendra, the work pays 40 pence a day.
Every young person here wants to be a owner of a shed like this or a factory, a small business, their entire lives revolve around this dream that they will send their children to school.
Yes.
They will send money back home to their families, exactly like how the Industrial Revolution happened in the West.
But just the size of it all is quite extraordinary to me. I think this is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
For me, they are my heroes. And I think a society where people work hard is going to be one of the biggest powers in the world.
It's just that I never thought I would find it and see so many examples of it in a place like this.
Yes, sir.
The community here is inspiring. Despite living in one of the most overcrowded places on earth,
Hello, how are you?
the urge to succeed appears to be all that matters.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Are you in England?
It's a long, long way away.
It's a reminder that nothing defines the new India
I see you.
Nice to see you.
more than its people. After a day in Mumbai, it's time to move on. Mumbai's Central Railway Station is the busiest in the world. Every day, 3 million commuters pass through, almost as many as those who travel on the entire British railway system. The people are the powerhouse of the new Indian economy. But in a far corner of the station, there's a little piece of old India which still survives. The Maharajas Express
Thank you.
is inspired by royal trains built over a century ago for India's kings, the Maharajas. I'm one of 67 travelers on a tour of old India. The entire staff is lined up to greet us. It's my first meeting with executive chef John Stone.
Good evening, welcome on board.
Thank
sir,
you.
Please. This is your valet out here. He's going to take your bag.
Oh, thank you.
Please. Welcome on board, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful
I'm looking forward to it enormously.
Great, great.
This is worlds apart from where I was 24 hours ago.
Thank you very much. Cheers. I've always had a sort of great affection for little bars like this, so I already feel at home.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm now anxious to see my room.
Gosh, this is glorious.
Yes, sir.
Almost half a mile long, the train has 23 carriages and 40 suites.
Welcome to your room, sir.
Thank you very much.
Sir, this is your suite room.
I've heard a lot about these, but it looks even more splendid than I.
Thank you, sir.
Then
There
I've been
is a
told.
mini bar and magazines
Yes,
and
thank you.
sofa sitting arrangement. You welcome to the bedroom.
I say,
There is a telephone and the TV is there.
yeah? Wow. It all looks absolutely splendid.
Can I show you the bathroom as well?
Yes, thank you.
This is the cubicle area
Yes?
and there is amenities, hand wash and the body lotion and everything is there.
This suite takes up half a carriage.
Well, this is better than anything I've ever stayed on, especially on a train.
Thank you, sir. And there is a mini bar also.
2 minibars.
Yes.
I think I might have a party in here tonight.
Bang on time, we're off. From Mumbai, we'll snake 1,200 miles across this great nation, ending up in India's capital, New Delhi.
Welcome on board to the delightful experience of Maharajas Express.
I'm keen to learn more about the Maharajas who once owned royal trains like this one. I'm with train manager Nitin.
I'll take you another bar.
Yeah? Another bar.
Yes, that's our second bar.
I like the sound of that. Wow.
The interior is inspired by saloons like this, built in the 1920s for a Maharaja in Rajasthan.
What this whole carriage reminds me is of an old-fashioned English club room,
Yes,
which is gracious and luxurious.
yes,
So it has the origins of the Maharajas.
Yes.
It also has that connection with Britain.
yes.
Gosh, these guys lived well.
So who were the Maharajas? For centuries, even under British rule until 1947, India was a patchwork of feudal kingdoms ruled by the Maharajas. Their lives were the subject of countless stories and legends.
This is the picture of Maharaja Patiala, Bhupinder Singh.
Yes. When did he live?
He lived in 19th century to 1938.
And surrounded by all these beautiful women.
Yes, that actually he had 5 wives.
Only 5.
No, sir, he has 5 wives legally and 365 wives total, 1 wife per day.
I would suspect that that's probably a little too many. But the Maharajas seem to look very well on it.
Yes,
In fact, it was the Maharaja's father who had 365 wives, not Bhupinder. He is said to have had a more modest harem of 350.
and he have 83 children.
83.
Yes.
How wealthy was he?
That time is a millionaire. As you can, we heard that he have the special necklace.
Yeah.
In that necklace, they have 3,000 diamond.
Wow.
And out of 3,000 diamond, there's a 1 diamond, the 7th largest in the world. And the cost of that time in 1938 is $25 million. But right now, the value of that necklace
I'd be about 250 million. I
more than,
suspect.
sir.
That.
More than, sir.
Well, I think it's a great vision of good living. Perhaps a little extravagant. Wonderful. I thought that was a valet. I thought the calls to drink.
In fact, not a call to drink, just a rattling glass. But I've taken it as my call to sleep, which is probably just what's needed, given that there'll be so much to see over the...
Valley service. Good morning, sir, driver. How are you?
Good, very good. Thank,
Thank
you.
you. Did you sleep
Good to
well,
see you.
sir?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Nice way to start the day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Rita.
sir.
Thank you. It's fantastic.
After a 200-mile overnight journey north, we've arrived at the small town of Pachora, and we're just in time for breakfast. With 23 carriages, the Maharajas Express is as long as 5 football pitches, which means that, in a way, it has its own inbuilt exercise regime.
You take a long time to get from your suite to this place, because you have to stop and say hello and good morning to so many people. It's rather nice. The sway of the ride is a little more than you expected. I suppose you move on the rails even in a luxury train.
At every station stop, we're given a royal welcome, similar perhaps to that given to a Maharaja. Guests are disembarking to tour the local area.
Good morning. 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 Morning.
But we're heading somewhere else in time.
Rather nice, isn't it?
This is old India. Pachora is located in the rural state of Maharashtra. It's one of the nation's food baskets. But despite the economic boom in the cities, Maharashtra is struggling. I'm here to find out why. People in rural areas like this are leaving in droves to find work in the cities. 10 years ago, 340 million Indians lived in cities. In another decade, that figure will be nearly 600 million. Ritesh is one farmer who decided to stay. He's tended the same plot of land now for over 50 years. But in 4 of the last 6 years, he's been hit by drought. This year, it devastated his crop.
Hello. Very nice to meet you. When was the last time you grew a successful crop here?
नहीं 4-5 साल के पहले होता था.
Back in 2012 or 2011, 6-7 years before. So
And since that time,
he hasn't.
no
5 साल
crops.
से लॉस जा रहे.
And is that because of the lack of rain?
So just say now.
हाँ बारिश की वजह से.
That's the main reason.
Yes. How much rain would you need now to restore this to anything like it was?
3 महीना तो भी बारिश होना अच्छी.
Acha.
You'll need about 3 months rain. Any sign of that?
तो वो तो आशा लगती ना आने की. वो आते नहीं तो क्या करेंगे अपन. आपने कहा हाथ में हो.
So he's saying that he don't think so, but he believes in God.
पेड़ पूजा करके जब भी पेड़ फसल लगा दे.
Every single day he prays for rain.
So far, the rains haven't come. And there's not enough water in the well to irrigate Ritesh's land. Next month, his daughter is due to get married, but Ritesh doesn't have the money to pay for her wedding.
It's very difficult to see this changing.
नहीं ना बारिश ही नहीं तो कहाँ से फसल आएंगी. ओ वाह 50 पौधे पिकनिक वो 5 भी आते नहीं.
He's saying the crops have decreased. Like the earlier it was like 60-70%. Now it's only like 5 to 15% crops.
From what percentage?
50-60% to like 5 to 15%.
But that's
In this particular area,
Yes.
Pachora, yeah.
a catastrophic fall. That's bad.
5 साल से बुरा चालू है.
It's same like from the past 5 years. It's the same.
Many of Ritesh's friends face the same problem. The government has provided some with emergency loans, but farmers can't afford the repayments.
Why do people keep coming back over and over to this land like this, to this plot of ground?
परिवार जैसा समझते हैं इसको घर है.
परिवार जैसे है ना.
घर है,
हम
माँ
माँ
जैसा.
अपने उस पे तो है ना सब खेल हमारा.
What's he say?
For him, like the land is his mother,
Yes.
so he's here, and he's very connected to it.
Yes. It's almost
Yeah.
a kind of spiritual
Yeah.
connection to the land, which is why he needs to keep coming back.
Yeah, every single day.
Well, I wish you luck, but in the circumstances, that seems a very poor thing to say, really. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Much of what I see around me here has a strange familiarity to it. I grew up in Trinidad, an island where almost half the population were of Indian heritage. Like all migrants, they arrived in the Caribbean with their culture, religion, lifestyle, and of course, food.
I remember coming back from school and always dipping into the Indian festivals because we got free food. And they always gave us free food. And one feature of these festivals was elaborate cooking. And they never turned us school children away. And would lessen the burden on my mother to prepare dinner.
But there was another reason why, as a child, I was drawn to Indian festivals.
I was born in an island which had a total population of about 1.5 million, and almost half the population were Indian. I'm pretty sure that my father was. My mother was pure Afro-Caribbean, and we were the product. And my father had long, straight black hair, and he wouldn't be classified as sort of African Negroid. It's the story of West Indian life. It's people coming in from other parts of the world, from Africa and from India, in a strange, amazing way. We are all connected, which makes me think that any kind of political philosophy which tried to divide people is pernicious.
Home to 1/6 of humanity, the people of this nation are drawn from many cultures and many faiths. The challenge for the new India remains as it's always been, to unite them. Day 3. And the Maharajas Express is 500 miles into its journey across the northwest of India. We're headed for Rajasthan on our way to India's most romantic city, Udaipur.
Gosh, this is so elegant.
Yes, sir.
I'm in the restaurant with train manager Nitin. The elaborate design is another illustration of the Maharaja's love of grandeur.
The peacock is the national bird in India.
Okay.
The stained glass is come from Spain. This chair is mahogany.
Mahogany.
Yes, you can see this glass tiles. It is from Germany.
From Germany.
Yes, it's more romantic when you eat over here, sir.
Yeah.
That
I take your word for that.
The train has been loaded up with 4 tons of food,
That's the kitchen, sir.
and there are 9 chefs on board to prepare it.
I can hear the sounds of the kitchen.
Yes, sir.
And we're going past the chef, John. Nice to see you again.
Thank you so much.
Nice to see you again.
Dinner will be served from 7:30 p.m. onwards. Thank you.
And there's more. It's another restaurant.
Wow.
It's called Rang Mahal.
Yes, what does that mean?
Rang Mahal means color.
Yeah.
So this is the colorful restaurant.
From the moment I walked in here, I was stunned by this ceiling.
This is the ceiling carpet,
Yeah.
which is made with that horse hair.
Okay.
Yes.
My goodness. The effect is stunning. I think it's wonderful. Now, when I first came in here, these caught my eye. They are beautiful.
Yes, sir.
Are these gold plates?
Yes, sir. This is the gold-plated plates, 24-karat gold, that's specially from Labs. The cost of this one is nearby $500 per plate.
$500 per plate.
Yes, sir.
So you don't want passengers walking off with these plates.
Definitely, sir.
The lamb looks good.
So far, I've met many of the ordinary people of India. It's hard not to think about their daily battles simply to survive. But it's always intriguing to find out how the other half lives. Tomorrow in Udaipur, I've been invited to one of the largest royal palaces in all India. I'm going to meet the son of a Maharaja. In the morning, there's another ceremonial welcome as we prepare to see one of India's most beautiful cities. For 500 years, Udaipur has been the capital of a vast princely state known as Mewar. Home to 500,000 people, the city's 7 man-made lakes were constructed by generations of local Maharajas. Spectacularly rich, these regional kings of Mewar thought nothing of draining Lake Pichola's 13 million cubic meters just to build another retreat. For centuries, even under formal British rule, between 1858 and 1947, Maharajas across all India were masters of their own private kingdoms. But when the British left, everything changed. Every single Maharaja was forced to hand over his land to the new Republic of India. To many ordinary Indians, it was a welcome change. Today, Maharajas do still live in palaces like this one in Udaipur. But since independence, their authority has been slowly eaten away. Prince Lakshmiraj Singh Mewar is the son of Arvind Singh, crowned in 1952 as the 76th Maharana of Udaipur. I wanted to find out what it was like for the Maharajas when the new India took most of the power from them.
What sort of things were people talking about when they talked about that change, that period?
To put it very bluntly and straightforwardly, that now Maharajas are going to start washing dishes.
Was it as
Yes.
stern as that?
Absolutely, absolutely, because that's how it was considered to be at that time. The entire nation was up in arms. There's no question about it. So, and let me also be very honest and give you certain facts of history. We were the first family to merge in the Republic of India. We were the first ones to say that there should be a great, independent, happy, united Republic, India.
After independence, Maharajas were given sweeteners in return for giving up power. They were allowed to keep their royal titles, and they received handsome annual purses as compensation for giving up their lands to the state.
What were people who didn't accept it going to do?
Well, I don't know, some may have perished, some may exist. But when you're presented with a revolutionary situation, you come up with revolutionary ideas, and the idea was certain parts of the palaces were converted into museums, certain parts were converted into hotels, and at the same time, we didn't give up on a 1500-year-old promise of looking after the people.
So as far as you are concerned, it's worked out well?
Yes, absolutely.
It does seem to have worked out pretty well. The hotels they opened have entertained the Queen, the Shah of Iran, and American First Lady Jackie Kennedy, seen here at the palace in 1962. And though the Maharana must now confine his quarters to a small corner of the complex, he has still managed to corner a decent share of the income from tourism. Away from the serenity of the palace, Udaipur is a bustling city of 500,000 people. Its markets are a kaleidoscope of color, crammed with exotic vegetables and fresh spices. The perfect place for the trained chefs to source fresh produce. The 67 passengers on this trip are having most of their meals in the comfort of the train's 2 restaurants. All prepared by executive chef John Stone and his team.
Please come, sir. Okay. I'll just show you.
And John's devotion to his kitchen is transparent.
This is my most expensive piece of equipment. It's called the combination oven. It does everything from boiling rice to baking breads.
Wow.
Including microwave cooking. Anything can be done in it.
Yeah.
Now we're getting ready for the dinner.
Yes.
Now everything on top is hot, down below is cold. I don't have to run to the store to get my vegetables. They're all here. Optimum usage of space, which is very, very essential.
Yeah.
All the ingredients that you see,
Yes.
all world class. If you were an Italian and you wanted our risotto, I would give you a risotto made out of arborio rice and not basmati rice.
Right.
Till now, in my 8 years, we've never said no to any guest for anything.
You've never had any complaints?
Yes. You know, sir, food is all about passion. And somewhere, along with good ingredients, if you put a little bit of love into it, the dish automatically comes out good.
All chefs talk about putting love into their
Yes.
And what about the products that you get?
Sir,
where do they come from?
I'll tell you. Sir, all my meats are imported.
From where?
Sir, like the lobsters coming all the way from Australia.
You get lobsters from Australia?
Yes, Norwegian salmon is coming from Norway. Smoked salmon is coming from Norway. The shrimps and prawns are coming all the way from Malaysia. The chicken is coming from Sri Lanka. Lamb is coming from Australia.
I don't believe it.
Sir, for this way, you can't have anything but the best.
I knew you were going to say that.
Thank you, sir.
And on the menu tonight?
Sir, stuffed chicken breast, which has been slit through the center and are stuffed with mushrooms cooked in white wine, along with cheddar cheese. And along with that would be a nice red wine reduction.
I like that.
It seems a miracle that all this can be done on a fast-moving train.
Tell me about the big difficulty of working in a kitchen on a quickly moving train. Because this is, it's not even easy to stand around here. Are you able to say to the engineer or the driver, we're having a gala dinner tonight, could you keep the speed down?
Sir, we are, fortunately, we are very lucky because on the day when we have gala dinners, the train is static. It doesn't move at all.
That's a bit of a cheat.
Yes, but if I request, please slow it down a bit because the soup is spilling or the water is spilling. He immediately calls up the driver and the train slows.
So you can
we can actually do it.
Wow.
We can actually do it.
That's impressive.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The Maharajas Express runs on the fourth biggest railway in the world. Its track will go around the globe 1.5 times. Using the regular service, a trip from one end of India to the other, equivalent to traveling between London and Istanbul, costs around £12. From Udaipur, we now journey 120 miles north to Jodhpur, on the edge of India's spectacular Thar Desert. For centuries, Jodhpur's royal family defended their territory from within these impregnable walls. Across town, I've been summoned to one of the family's less intimidating palaces.
Thank you very much.
With petals thrown at my feet and honor guard before me, I'm welcomed to Pavan, the very last Maharaja's palace ever to be built in India.
Welcome to the palace.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Please.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you.
For you.
Thank you very much.
The Maharaja himself has agreed to meet me.
It's a very warm welcome. Thank you very much.
From an ancient fortress to a symbol of the British Raj. Jodhpur is one of India's most historic cities. On the edge of India's Thar Desert, temperatures here can reach 50 degrees in summer. Today, though, it's a balmy 28.
It's an extraordinary place this is.
This is Jodhpur's Pavan Palace.
It's wonderful.
And I'm here to meet the last Maharaja of Jodhpur. My welcome takes place in the palace's glorious entrance hall. It's a magnificent setting. In all India, only the Taj Mahal has a bigger dome. Built in the 1920s as a private home, I'm told the palace was assembled without mortar or cement. Every stone is marked with a number, so that the entire edifice can, at a whim, be taken down and rebuilt somewhere else. Flat pack at its finest. The man I've come to meet, Gaj Singh, was a child king. He was only 4 years old in 1952 when he became Maharaja.
Sir, please this way, the Maharaja is here.
Oh, thank you.
After his coronation, Gaj was sent to school in England, returning home just in time for the bad news that in 1947, the government had taken away the Maharaja's land. Then, in 1971, it stripped them of their titles and made them commoners. Even so, the place has an atmosphere of solemn reverence.
Okay.
As I'm led in and out of various rooms
Going back the way we came.
and along various corridors. It is as if I'm being inspected by the all-seeing eyes of former Maharajas. As I wait and wait, you'd never suspect that the boy king Gaj Singh, once crowned last Maharaja of Jodhpur, is today, according to the Indian state, just an ordinary man.
Gosh. My goodness.
My audience will take place on the terrace.
Absolutely spectacular view in glorious sunlight.
But where is he? Finally, he appears.
Hello, sir.
Good afternoon.
And I have the chance to ask him how it felt to have his Maharaja title taken away.
Of course, it all changed in 1971 with the change of the Constitution. Did you regret having so short a time as Maharaja?
It wasn't that. It was the way it was done. We were made look small from being privileged people. The press was against, political climate was against.
And you once said, we are the bad boys. What did you mean by that?
We were made out to be the bad boys.
I see, yes.
Everything became an issue.
Yes.
The villages went, land ownerships, and the whole thing, it was a bit of a dampener. But it hit us very badly.
Do you think what was done because of any kind of envy at the privileges?
No, change had to come. And we said, we want it, change come, it has to come, but do it in a honorable way.
So you think it was done in a dishonorable way?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like the royals of Udaipur, the family had maintained their lifestyle by converting their palace into an hotel, and one that's been voted the most luxurious in the world. But far beyond the terrace, in a secret corner of the estate, there's a hidden treasure from the long-gone days of the Maharajas. A genuine Maharaja's royal train.
Please, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Sadly, though, it's not what it once was.
So this is the entrance to the old carriage?
Yes, sir.
Amit worked on board in its glorious heyday.
It's very narrow along these corridors.
This was 1 meter gauge, sir.
1 meter?
So 3 feet 3 inches.
Yes.
But little smaller than what we have today's date.
The train was built 100 years ago so that Gaj Singh's grandfather could travel in style to the tiger hunting grounds of the south.
So tell me about the fact that this was built for his grandfather, the current Maharaja.
Exactly. The Maharaja Umer Singh Sahib of that time, who was ruling Maharaja,
So what
he
was
ordered Birmingham Railways to build these carriages in England.
Wow.
Yeah. And so altogether it was a combination of 8 carriages which been pulled by a small steam locomotive.
How luxurious were these carriages?
They had very comfortable beds in each of their bedrooms.
Yes.
The sitting area had a very spacious place where these group you would sit and enjoy their drinks during their travel. It was bar cum sitting area. Even the dining room had a lovely table to accommodate 20 people.
Yeah.
And I must say that it was the most luxurious way to travel at that time.
And what's here?
This was the kitchen, sir.
Wow.
And we had this charcoal operated oven there.
Charcoal?
Charcoal operated.
Yes. So it limited how much you could do.
Yeah, very
in
much.
those
like
days.
this. Yes, sir. And these were the ice boxes to keep this stuff in
Yeah.
it. And this was coal box
Yes.
where we used to keep coal.
This very English of trains fell out of use after the Maharaja died. But in the 1970s, a young Gaj Singh brought it back to life, using it to take his hotel guests on sightseeing trips to the desert city of Jaisalmer. Some might call it the first and original Maharajas Express.
People could travel overnight from Jodhpur to Jaisalmer, reach there in the morning, have their breakfast, leave for sightseeing. Then again they will come back in the evening, they would have dinner and ride back to Jodhpur.
And then go back. It connected the two places.
Yes, sir.
It connected them, but not for long. The tourist trips ended after only a few years. And so for the last 2.5 decades, these once magnificent saloons have stood alone and empty. The royal train's demise perhaps symbolizes that of the Maharajas themselves. Though as I look out to the ancient fortress, I find it difficult to decide whether it really is all over for the Maharajas just yet. In the 3 decades since I last visited India, it's been transformed. The population's gone from 850 million to nearly 1.3 billion. And its economy is exploding to become, by some estimates, the 5th largest in the world. Yet so much of this vast country looks just the same as I remember.
As you speed through at 80 miles an hour, it's a lovely panoramic view of it all. And trains going by. It is a journey of discovery, isn't it?
It's a perfect way to travel between 2 of the country's major cities, and along the way to see a new India emerging from the old. But today, I'm approaching a desert city where an ancient way of life survives and thrives. Bikaner lies to the northwest of India, close to the border with Pakistan.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Please watch your step.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Good morning, sir. Prabha,
Thank
how are
you. Very good. How are you today?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Morning, morning, morning.
In 1947, Pakistan, which had formed part of the country, became a separate state with a Muslim majority. But in India, Hinduism continues to dominate, with 8 in 10 people describing themselves as followers. From the station, I'm making a short journey to Deshnok to visit a remarkable shrine to a Hindu goddess. This extraordinary temple was built in honor of Kani Mata, a 14th century female warrior. To her followers, she was a miracle worker whose reincarnated descendants live here, although not in human form.
This is a truly amazing scene. I was brought up on an island where Hindus make up quite a proportion of the population, and there are 500,000 Hindus in the UK. But I've never heard of a temple to rats. And since I'm in a temple, I think I should make a confession. They are not my favorite creatures.
A staggering 20,000 rats are believed to live inside the temple. They're fed, watered, and worshipped by devotees.
I think I should also say that this place is fly infested, which is not entirely surprising.
There are conflicting stories of why Kani Mata's descendants were reincarnated in this form. Some worshippers believe that the few white rats in the temple are the reincarnations of the goddess herself and of her sons. None are visible today. But there are many other memorable sights.
So what's happening here? That the rats are drinking the milk.
It's holy water. So we are ill, this water we are drink.
So the rats drink the milk, but you drink the milk too?
Yes, we also drink that.
In Deshnok, around 600 families claim to be the descendants of Kani Mata. Like Gajendra, its caretaker, they believe that after their death, they'll also be reincarnated as kabas or holy rats.
The holy milk.
Yes.
If we are ill,
yes,
then I come and pray for God, and that is this milk is we are drink. Health is good, never disease, never plague, never problem.
Well, I'm glad that you are very healthy.
Yeah, I'm healthy. After we also eating food. This food, you want to see. This food.
So you're eating the food that the rats have just eaten?
Yes, I also eat. It's good. This is prasad.
And that helps you to stay healthy?
Yes, healthy. No problem.
Very interesting.
Yes, understand.
Kani Mata is said to have devoted much of her life to the poor. Legend has it that she disappeared at the age of 151. It was then, in 1438, that her followers began building the temple in her honor.
So this is a prayer to the goddess of this temple.
Inside it is statue for good age.
And is this food being brought by people who come to worship here?
People are brought here.
So they come to worship, they bring food for the rats, and they bring food in honor of the goddess.
Yes.
This goddess demands copious quantities of food and offerings.
The shrine is intricate and ornate, but as a non-Hindu, this is as close as I'm allowed to get.
It seems to have a lot to do with feel and touch and ringing of bells. Everybody wants to get close to the goddess. Hello. Hello. Oh, there you go again, somebody ringing bells.
As well as attracting worshippers, the temple also draws curious visitors from around the world.
I think it's also interesting that this temple is run on strict commercial lines. I can see what people are obliged to pay for bringing in mobiles or cameras or movie cameras. I can't help but wonder what role mobile phones play in the worship to the goddess. And this is an example of the kind of dedication that people feel to this place.
From the Middle Ages, when this temple was built, to the modern era of digital communications, the religious faith that grips India shows no sign of loosening. Census figures show that almost 100% of its people follow one creed or another. Religion has given this country a culture and customs that remain intact. Although this is one I didn't share. But religion has also been a source of conflict, and one that's simmered with India's close neighbor Pakistan ever since the two countries split apart. It's left its mark here, close to the border, in the most beautiful of landscapes.
That's amazing.
Before our train leaves Bikaner, the staff have laid on a traditional sunset dinner in the Thar Desert. But while my fellow passengers prepare for a night of food, drink, and entertainment, my interest is sparked by something else. 21 years ago, this was the scene of a story which, as a news reporter, I remember well. India carried out a series of nuclear test explosions here, in what was seen as a clear warning to Pakistan, with whom it's been at war 4 times in the last 70 years. Today, tensions remain high. This is one of the few places in the world where 2 nuclear powers sit side by side. At 77,000 square miles, the Thar is almost as large as England and Scotland combined. Yet this deceptively serene desert makes up a mere 6% of India itself.
This is a great illustration of the extraordinary vastness of India. We've been seeing Maharajas' palaces, been at the Rat Temple, and now this is a barbecue in the desert. And I have to remind myself constantly that we're only about less than 100 kilometers from the Pakistani border.
The Thar is where India changed its place in the world order, becoming a nuclear state and demonstrating its technological advancement. Tomorrow, I'm leaving it behind to explore a place synonymous with an earlier age. The spectacular pink city of Jaipur, capital of Rajasthan. I'm on an unforgettable journey, retracing the travels of some of the richest, most powerful men who ever lived, the Maharajas of India. These opulent surroundings would have been familiar to those ancient kings who ruled individual swathes of this country for centuries. Most impressive of all is the premier bedroom suite, which sleeps 4 and occupies an entire carriage.
So this is the most luxurious suite on the train.
It is, sir. This is the best carriage we have. This is the presidential suite of ours. Where we are standing is the living room. To our left and right, we have the bedroom with attached bath. Behind that, we have a beautiful washroom. This floor, as you see, is special. This is Makrana marble, the marble of which famous Taj Mahal is made of.
Ah, so this is made of the same marble as the Taj Mahal.
The ceiling, if you see, is hand-painted Rajasthani painting. The mahogany wood is used.
Which is this?
You see here.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh, looks very nice. And how much would it cost a couple to stay here?
Approximately $47,000, sir. That's for 8 days and 7 nights.
Which is about £36,000.
Absolutely, sir.
Or to put it another way, just over £5,000 a night. For those who can afford such splendor, the train is aptly named.
The whole idea is to make you feel like a Maharaja, a very special person. Maharaja is king of kings. So people staying here are very special people and to be treated with extra care. They have a private valet of theirs who is available round the clock to them, along with a chauffeur and a personal guide at each stations where we go for off-board excursions.
So if they want to, they can mix with the other passengers, but they don't need to.
Anytime they can.
This is exclusive.
It is, sir.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much, sir.
Well, I envy all those who have the chance to stay in the presidential suite.
To make sure guests receive the best of everything, there's an army of full-time staff, nearly one for every paying passenger. I was taken to see their living quarters.
Please come.
So this is where you all live?
Yes, this is the staff car, sir. This is our kitchen area, small kitchen area, where our staff sitting here and enjoy the lunch.
Enjoy the lunch. But it means that only about six of you can sit here at one time.
Yes, six person.
Yeah. So you have to eat in shifts as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all food is making inside.
Yeah. Do they feed you well?
Yes, sir.
you get good food.
Good food all time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent.
Like as a restaurant.
Like in the restaurant.
From cooks to cleaners, from maintenance men to managers, all staff members are trained to the highest standards and display a genuine pride in their work. Bansi is a personal valley.
So how many people work and live in this?
60 people on board, sir. 60.
60 people?
Yes, sir.
But they don't all live and sleep in this?
In this coach, only like restaurant staff,
Yes.
kitchen staff, and the maintenance person,
Yes.
and the security person.
Yeah, but that's still a lot of people. Do people use all these bunks?
Yes.
And how comfortable is that?
Very comfortable. They don't have any complaint about the sleeping.
I'm fascinated about who gets the choice about where to sleep, who gets the top bunk and who gets the bottom bunk.
We all are like a family member. So
Yes.
we never...
You must get along, you must like each other, otherwise it could be very difficult.
Despite the limited living space, jobs on the train are highly sought after. For those like Bansi, they offer a glimpse into an entirely different world from the one in which he grew up.
I'm very happy.
Yeah.
Because of so many different countries, people I meet all time. So it's totally different lifetime experience.
Yeah.
Like as well as guest and as well as staff also.
Yes, yes. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
12 hours and 170 miles after leaving Bikaner, we've made an eastward turn to Jaipur. A teeming city with an estimated 3.8 million people and one-time seat of power for the British, once rulers of this state.
Morning. Morning, John. How are you? Yeah, thank you.
The British took control of Jaipur in 1818 and stayed until 1947. The empire may be long gone, but the welcome remains the same.
The red carpet, which we see everywhere.
Yes, all time the red carpet for you.
That's very flattering.
Yeah.
Thank you. My problem is I might get too accustomed to this and expect it when I get home, and it wouldn't be there.
It's easy to see why Jaipur is known as the Pink City. A 19th century Maharaja ordered all the main buildings to be painted this shade in honor of Britain's future King Edward VII, then visiting as the Prince of Wales. As I arrive, the color that greets us is grey.
Oh my God.
Today, Jaipur is booming, thanks in part to tourism. Along with Delhi and Agra, it forms India's so-called Golden Triangle.
Oh, look at this.
It's more than 30 years since I was last in India, but as the rain clears, scenes like this are unmistakably familiar.
Whenever I think of traveling through major Indian cities, this is the kind of traffic chaos that I remember. There are probably fewer cars on the road then, but the sense of disorder, the chaos, still goes on. But it works, and people still get around. In a sense, everything is newer, but old patterns remain. Everybody is buying or selling something. The streets are all lined on either side with some kind of commercial activity. But in a way, it does explain why this economy continues to grow.
Like the buildings, the streets and marketplaces are a riot of color, as is the dress. Just like their ancestors, the Indians of today wear vibrant clothes that symbolize a whole range of moods, emotions, and beliefs. For centuries, they were woven, dyed, and decorated individually by skilled artisans working from home. But now they're churned out on an industrial scale. Factories like this are where the old and new India meet. The craft of block printing may be an ancient one, but owner Hemant is keeping it alive with modern business methods.
How long have you been doing it?
We started this in 2001, and now around 19 years.
Yeah. And the principle is fairly simple, isn't it? You put the dye on, and then somebody has to measure it carefully. And
Yes, and then heat.
And a degree of precision is involved, because when you do this one here, it has to be absolutely...
Yeah, next...
because of the design has to be...
it look like a continuous. It should not look like a joint, too much of joints.
No. That's an art.
Yes.
The fabrics are washed and laid out to dry. Staff then cut them to size and prepare the colors, leaving it to the artisans to begin their work. Hemant has 2 factories using both natural and synthetic dyes for printing.
This is where you put the color in.
Yes.
So let's see how you do it. It's fantastic. I can see he has to be very, very precise doing this. He makes it look easy.
Yeah.
Now here's the question: does anybody make mistakes?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mistakes, but within the range of mistakes is acceptable. If it's beyond that, then
yes,
it's rejected pieces.
Because the key thing is the precision.
Precision. Yes.
Yeah.
After that, it will go in the sun for drying.
You put it outside.
Yeah, sun play a very important role in natural dyes.
Yeah.
If the sun is bright, then you got a bright colors. If sun is dull, then you got a dull color.
I never would have thought that distinction was possible just by where you put it out to dry.
Yes.
Despite overseas competition, especially from China, the business is expanding. This factory exports to 9 countries. Modern technology may power India's economy, but it's heartening to see skills that go all the way back to the 12th century thriving in the 21st.
Well, I'm going to try one of these in the knowledge that my future in no way depends on it.
Pick the color.
Oh, pick the color first.
One more time. Yes. Yeah. One more. Yes. Now pick this.
Pick up?
Yeah. Good.
Wow, and you can't see the joy. I'm very pleased with myself about this. Thank you.
Some aspects of Indian life are immutable. Cattle, considered sacred by Hindus, continue to roam freely, able to go wherever they please. Holding up traffic even in rush hour. But there's another so-called holy animal that hasn't fared so well.
Oh, my goodness me. What is in front of us here?
Despite their importance in the country's religion and culture, elephants have long been exploited, held captive, abused, and used for entertainment. Although there are laws to prevent it, mistreatment is still evident. But as India advances and international pressure grows, the movement to protect these animals gains strength.
Tell me the story of this first one we're looking at
This
here.
elephant here, her name is Annu. She is 19 years old.
Rahul helps to run this elephant sanctuary in Jaipur.
Here's a big question. How do you know whether they are contented? How do you know whether they're happy?
In general, they always keep themselves occupied with some certain activities. They never stay still.
Yes.
Ears flapping continue, tail swinging all the time.
That's a sign of happiness.
Legs up and down, back and forth.
Yes.
Trunk swinging, eating, eyes blinking. Good state.
These are doing nothing but eating at the moment.
Sir, flapping ears?
Flapping ears too.
Yes. Tail is swinging.
As a tourist industry veteran, Rahul has seen it firsthand how elephants are exploited. Sadly, it's all too common.
And where do they come from?
Sir, some of them are born here, grew up here in my family. Some are rescued, sir. Some are from circuses.
You've had some from circuses?
Yes.
Do the caretakers have to get trained in how they treat the animals?
Sir, have you heard about caste system in India?
Yes.
We are from caste called Mahouts.
Okay.
Mahout means elephant riders, caretakers.
Oh, right.
So this is our job from our generations. Father,
So you
their
and these people
grandfather.
have a long association with...
Surely,
with
sir,
these
sure.
animals.
Yeah.
The Asian elephant is now officially an endangered species, so the manner in which tourists are allowed to come into contact with them, even in so-called ethical sanctuaries like this one, is controversial. Rahul says elephant rides are not allowed here. Visitors are sometimes permitted to paint the animals. Even that practice has been criticized.
Her name is Shaku.
Shaku?
Yeah.
Yes.
She's 28.
28 years. Is she looking at us now?
Yeah.
Can she see us?
Yeah.
Yes, I can see those eyes on there, saying, who is this man and what's he doing to us here? Wonderful. The skin is rather softer than I thought.
Sir, yeah, it is.
Although it's argued that keeping any elephant in captivity is wrong, the majority of animals which have been rescued have lost the ability to survive in the wild.
I never thought I'd be in such close proximity to anything like this. They're huge things, aren't they?
She wants some more sugarcane.
Oh, she wants some more sugar cane. Let's not stand in the way of her food. How much do they eat?
On an average, an adult elephant, sir, up to 200 kilograms every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And I'm sure they appreciate very much what you're doing on their behalf.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a privilege to be allowed to get so close to these beautiful animals. And those looking after them do seem genuine in their care and affection. But there's still a long way to go to protect these magnificent creatures. It seems a fitting end to my day in Jaipur.
Look at that sunset, man.
Tomorrow, my train takes me to Agra and to one of the wonders of the man-made world. Sadly, we discover its future is at risk. I'm now a week into my visit to India.
Thank you very much. Have a great day in business. Nice way to start the day.
Anytime you call me, I'm 24 hours available for you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I've covered more than 1,000 miles, traveling as the Maharajas would have done. It might be one of the world's most luxurious trains, serving the finest food and drink and offering the most comfortable of living quarters. But however sumptuous the inner surroundings, you can never ignore what's on the other side of the glass.
Looking out at this window, it's difficult to believe that these are the surrounds. Miles and miles of slums.
That such poverty still exists is one of the tragedies of today's India. In the last decade, average incomes and living standards have soared. Yet an estimated 70 million of its people still live on less than £1.50 a day.
It's depressing to think that anyone can possibly survive in conditions like these.
Such conditions can be found throughout India, including Agra, our next stop. But this city is also home to the country's greatest treasure. Every year, millions come to see the Taj Mahal, and I'm here to discover more about it. From Agra Station, it's a 20-minute journey to this wonder of the modern world.
Is this always the time that people go to the Taj in the morning?
Yes.
I can see why. Its sunlight is magical.
Yes.
There's a distinct thrill going to it at this time of the morning, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, blindingly beautiful sunlight.
Part of the journey can be done by cab.
Good morning. So
Thank
please, you can have a seat here.
Thank you so much. Lovely, thank you.
For environmental reasons, all petrol and diesel-powered vehicles are banned from its immediate surroundings. So for the last third of a mile, my transport is electric.
Yep, okay. Yes, it's
This is a way like your friend.
yeah, so thank you.
Your first glimpse of the majestic Taj Mahal comes as you walk toward the gatehouse. The central dome soars 240 feet into the sky. But not until you emerge from this cramped and crowded walkway does the Taj Mahal shine in all its glory.
There's no question that this is probably one of the most stunning views in all the world. And looking at the old Taj in the morning sunlight is absolutely stunning. No wonder crowds of people from all over the world come here every day just for one glimpse of this most glorious scene.
The Taj Mahal was literally a labor of love. The 17th century ruler Shah Jahan ordered it to be built to honor his wife Mumtaz, who had died giving birth to their 14th child. He resolved to lay her to rest in a place of unparalleled beauty. And this is what he came up with: a shimmering marble mausoleum that cost an estimated 32 million Indian rupees, well over £500 million in today's money.
How long did it take to build?
The Taj Mahal took 22 years and 20,000 workers worked to build this place. And why it took so long, reason is the workmanship. Like the white marble is from Makrana, which is like 360 kilometers from here. And the red sandstone is from Fatehpur Sikri, which is 40 kilometers from here.
So it all had to be brought in?
Yes.
it's an absolute stunning aspect to look at the Taj Mahal in the glorious morning sunlight.
Right.
As befitting the place of love, countless couples come here to be photographed together. But in 1992, it was the setting for something different. In a highly symbolic pose, Princess Diana chose to be pictured alone. Not only did it send a clear message that her marriage to Prince Charles was in deep trouble, unintentionally, it had consequences for the monument itself.
I came here for the first time long before that famous Diana picture was taken, which was shown all over the world. And I've often wondered over the years how Indians regarded that image as something which publicized something so central to the culture of this country. Well, I've discovered that the Indians are quite pleased about it because it has made the Taj Mahal immensely more popular.
But popularity comes with a price. 8 million people come here every year. Pollution and fumes discolor and crack the marble.
Thank you very much for agreeing to talk to us.
As the authorities strive to clean and restore it, Indian environmentalists are calling for stronger action.
So if you look at Agra right now, as in imagine the number of tourists that actually come to visit Taj Mahal, but you still see so much garbage. So there's so much of international attention that Agra gets, but there's garbage on the roads, there's plastic burning that is happening, the river is completely stinking, there are factories, there are coal-fired factories all around, there are vehicles there's no pollution under control check on these vehicles, be it two-wheelers or four-wheelers. So it's a clean mess, and Agra, in many, many ways, is the story of each and every city. And imagine by 2030, almost 70% of India would be living in cities. Agra is a microcosm of emerging India.
The pollution caused by tourists and locals is most evident in the Yamuna River, which flows next to the site. Today, it's a rancid repository of industrial and household waste. The insects that thrive here swarm over the monument in such numbers that they've created patches of brown and green on the famous white exterior.
And I thought that there was a more concerted plan of action to deal with most of this pollution because it began to be recognized as something which needed to be dealt with.
See, no doubt there is a grown narrative around pollution. There's more discussion, there are more schemes, but unless and until my river is drinkable, my air is breathable, my children are healthy, things will not improve. Things need to be really concrete on the ground, and that's missing in our policy and in our action.
Seeing the Taj Mahal on a perfect morning like this, it's hard to believe that its integrity is under threat. But it is. In 2018, India's Supreme Court ordered the government to take urgent steps to protect it. Hopefully, it's not too late. After I first stepped on board the Maharajas Express, this most incredible train is now taking me on the last 122 miles of my journey to India's capital. It's early morning, and we are about to arrive in Delhi. Like all passengers on board, I've come to view the staff on the train almost as friends. That's especially true of the head chef, John.
Thank you so much. You cooked superbly for us.
Thank you ever so much, sir. I hope you had a good trip, sir.
I'll always remember this trip.
God bless you, sir.
And I hope I get the chance by
So
some
do
means.
visit us again, please.
If I win the lottery, I'll come back to see you.
Yes. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you.
The train will now be cleaned, serviced, and restocked with another 4 tons of food before embarking on its journey all over again. But I still have the last leg of mine to complete. And it's something of a personal pilgrimage.
Driving through the major cities of India, you get so fixated by the congestion and by the
chaos of traffic. But driving through New Delhi, you would never believe that they're both parts of the same country. This is entirely different.
And that's because the city, actually a district of Old Delhi, is barely 90 years old. Its foundation was laid by George V, then Emperor of India, and became the capital in 1931. It's the seat of India's government and the final resting place of the man who helped to make possible the creation of this country. Mahatma Gandhi led the independence movement against British colonial rule. His commitment to non-violent struggle inspired one of my own heroes, Martin Luther King, and the many other civil rights campaigners who came after.
This is where he slept.
I've come to meet his great-granddaughter Sukiyama Batram at the home where he spent his final months. This picture shows him a few yards away from where I'm standing.
This is where Mahatma Gandhi lived and where he had his meetings, where everyone from the Prime Minister to Mountbatten to anybody you can think of
They all came to see him here.
And they all came to see him and they all sat on the floor the way he sat.
It's extraordinary to be
Yes.
in the same area.
Gandhi moved here shortly after Britain's withdrawal in August 1947. As his country was partitioned into Hindu-dominated India and Muslim-majority Pakistan, at least 500,000 people were killed in bitter religious riots. Gandhi, as ever, preached peace.
This lawn was where he gave his evening prayers.
Oh, I see. So this is where so people congregated around here.
Yes, congregated here. Very often they spilled over onto the bigger lawn. And that was the room that where, those windows, those French
right. So,
windows.
yes. And
on
he
that
came,
side,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah,
and so he used to come out from there and walk from here. That is where he sat to give his sermon.
Yes.
And this was...
So this place would be filled with people?
Yes.
That is amazing.
Gandhi's efforts to end religious strife made him an easy target for extremists. And on January 30th, 1948, one of them struck. At 17 minutes past 5 in the afternoon, the 78-year-old leader emerged from his room and walked down this path to his regular evening prayers. Among the crowd that knelt and bowed down before him was a Hindu nationalist gunman who pulled out a concealed weapon. Firing 3 times, he killed his victim instantly. The assassination sent tremors across the world. There was civil unrest. India went into mourning for 13 days.
The sense of grief and deep, profound shock among his immediate family must have been something they had to live with for such a long time.
Yes, it was a terrible sense of loss.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I can quite describe the grief. I can only describe it by saying that nobody ever wants to talk about it.
No.
At least those who were there at that time.
Today, the spot where Gandhi died is immortalized as Martyr's Column. These concrete footprints represent his last steps.
I mean, he was assassinated, his physical body.
Mm-hmm.
But his message of non-violence
lived on.
Lives on. He is not dead because he's quoted, he's referred to, he's mentioned.
His philosophy lives on.
His philosophy lived on.
It's been 71 years since those fatal shots rang out, robbing India of its most revered leader. In that time, the country he led to independence has advanced with increasing speed. On this trip, I've been privileged to witness much of that country. And from a vantage point I never could have imagined. From the teeming streets of Mumbai.
Everywhere you look, there's industry. People are doing things. Everybody is on the move.
To the splendor of Udaipur.
It's built on an island.
India has said goodbye to the once all-powerful Maharajas.
We were made to look small from being privileged people. The whole thing, it was a bit of a dampener.
But some things refuse to go away, like the deprivation, still all too evident, both in the cities and in the driest rural fields. India is on a mission to become not just an economic force, but a new world superpower, embracing the future and facing outwards, while doggedly holding on to centuries-old traditions and customs. Yet its greatest challenge probably lies ahead: how to build a prosperous nation while ensuring the most disadvantaged share in the benefits. Gandhi himself said, "The future depends on what we do today."